Hi guys, Cloudie here checking in from the America server, and this is gonna be my reaction video to the development announcement from King's Raid producer. Now if you have seen the previous one, I already did one on this, but in retrospect that was a little bit rushed and not quite accurate, partly because I couldn't watch the whole video and had to rely on auto translation by YouTube there, but this was now released by Vespa with English subtitles, so we can just check it out together. I will put a link to the video itself into the description, but as you can see it's 34 minutes, so if you don't want to watch that, then my reaction is going to be a little bit shorter. I'm going to try to skip through things as it goes. Let's get to it and see how it looks like. Actually, let me
안녕하세요.
take down the sound because then you can't hear what I'm saying. So I'm not gonna try and pronounce his name because I would butcher it too bad, but he's taking over the producer role for King's Raid, and he wanted to introduce himself using this video, and he also expresses how he wants to communicate more with the community and react more to feedback and so on and so on. So one of the channels he wants to use is actually videos, but not only. After this, he talks that he believes 2020 will be a turning point for King's Raid, which decides whether the game fails or stays alive longer. After all, it has been alive for a good 3 years already. And for that, they want to consider what the game means to the players, and so on and so on. Now, after this, he goes on to a look back to 2019 and talks about the things that they were able to deliver and what his regrets are, or what Vespa's regrets are. And one of the main things he points out right at the beginning is the client optimization, whereas from a relatively stable client they went to one that has many crash issues and lag issues, and which is causing a lot of frustration to the players themselves. So he acknowledges this and ensures everyone that they are working on the problem, but then he also says that they do not quite know yet what exactly the problem is, so they can't tell when it will be fixed. And that takes some balls, actually, I think, to be able to say that, like, oh, we don't know when it will be fixed, but we are working on it. So yeah, we will see. I hope they can. They did an update recently which was supposed to do some repairs on the client. It helped a little, but not too much for me. After this, he talks about the Rush Soul Weapon release, that they really wanted to get them out, but so ended up doing it in batches, which hurt some players, and also there was no content where you really needed to use soul weapons, so this just ended up disrupting the already existing balance for content. So, and he talks about balance later on, so not gonna cover that just yet. After then, he keeps going on about things like the stamina cap issue, that after around level 135 or so, the maximum stamina caps out because they felt that high level old players would benefit too much from the maximum stamina potions, but they still want to reward these higher level players somehow, and they are thinking maybe costumes or accessories would be good, but this is still something that they are thinking about. The other thing is they want to increase unique weapon and unique treasure gains and remove early challenges so new players can advance faster, and they want to add more contents like events like the upcoming Orwell Celebration Day that reward unique weapons and unique treasures. So that's a good thing. After this, he talks a little about the color change system, which they hinted they started developing this, but then turned out that it was harder to do than they had thought, and right now this is on hold. It's not completely scrapped, but it's down the priority list because they have more important things to develop right now. After which he talks about artifacts, namely that there are quite a lot of artifacts in the game, and the good many of them are practically useless. And the problem with this is that they don't quite know how to fix them, because if they buff them, then again older players such as me who have high level artifacts from the past would get an unfair benefit or unfair advantage in the game because of these new good artifacts that they made out of the old ones. So they don't really know yet how to fix this, but this is also something that they are thinking about. Now after this, we can skip ahead a little bit, a couple minutes only. He mentions the fairy system. I think it's around here, yeah. So the fairy system, which they wanted to implement, as actually the dispatch system. So initially you would have had the fairies going out on your dispatch battles, but then they changed it so that the dispatch would be separate, and they are still thinking about how to implement fairies. Right now they probably will do a more personal approach where the fairies or pets are just running around your heroes and stuff, but don't really do anything for you, so it's not like a boosting system. Moving on, they also talk about the housing system, which they started developing and laid the groundwork for. They wanted to create a place in the game where you can see your heroes, interact with them, see them and stuff. And so they started developing this, but then couldn't really figure how to fit it into the game, what kind of fun purpose it would have. And that's why they have, I'm not sure if they have completely scrapped it or just put it on hold, but this is not going on right now because they haven't really figured yet what to do with it. So sadly, we won't be getting this anytime soon, if at all, which is too bad because I was really looking forward to it. After this, he mentions feedback and reaction to players. He feels that the best way to do is through videos and other channels such as this, and he wants to do more of these. And then he goes on to talk about balance issues as one of the most important ones. He acknowledges that the soul weapons caused a lot of issues with balance, and especially because they had made the soul weapon content hard, and gaining and getting these new soul weapons and the ethers for them, they made it hard, so the content would not be consumed too fast. But at the same time, they have added pay-to-win options, where you could just buy the ethers, you could buy the soul weapon selectors. So if somebody was able to pay, then they were able to get a big advantage over the other players who could not do that. And they acknowledge that this is an issue and they want to work on it. As a starter, he promised that while there are plans to make more advancement phases for soul weapons, which we kind of already knew from data mining, they will not be implementing these until the balance issues are sorted. And one of the questions they want to try to figure out is whether to balance heroes considering their soul weapons or not, because that's an entirely different game if your hero has a soul weapon and when they do not. That's very different, especially if you consider the mad stat gain that an advancement to plus 20 weapon just gives. It's really hilarious. And to address some of these issues, he mentions that new content is coming at the end of March, which is almost here, which will allow us to obtain more materials, specifically soul weapons. And he also mentions that they want to reform Eclipse and create more ways to obtain gold, so it becomes easier to upgrade your soul weapons, to do the soul weapon advancement, or enhancement, sorry, ether enhancement. And they acknowledge that they feel it's normal for pay-to-win players to advance faster, but they do not want the gap to be this big, which is reasonable. I mean, this is a service, it's a company, they need to make money. It just doesn't need to be this heavy on the pay-to-win features. Also, looking at their balance, it may have been actually, but whatever. Now, in regards to balance, he also mentions that he received, or they received feedback about magic being too strong versus physical, and he goes on that, well, the meta always changes, but they do not really want to have jack of all trades type of characters. I could mention Artemia and Esker here, hello, but they want to have more specialized character that can be used in various contents, but that they will shine in those contents, but not in all of them. At the same time, they also do not want it so that certain content can only be done with a special cookie cutter combination of units and that nothing else is viable, so they want to retain choice for the players in what kind of setups they do, at least a few of them. After this, he goes on to costumes, how they select which heroes should receive one. Basically, they look at two things: how many costumes that hero already has, and when the last time was that hero received a new costume. Now, the issue with Maria and Luna, for instance, was that they have a lot of costumes, but they also have not received a new one for like 700 days or so. So while they had a lot, they also haven't received any new ones. But now with the dessert costumes, they added some more, one more both for Luna and one for Maria. So that's kind of good. But this is the issue they have, and that's why we cannot see new costumes for some characters. And now after this, jumping quite a bit ahead, it's at 22 somewhere. Let's see here. It talks about the new plans for this year, and one coming right around the corner is Shakmech at the end of March. This will be both the past and the present Kane's fight with Shakmech and their story, and there is also two characters involved, Xeria and Evan. He talks about what they want to do with Shakmech. Basically, there would be some challenge mini-boss that some mini-boss that you can challenge daily, and then the final boss will be Shakmech himself. They are introducing a new battle style with this one, where basically you will have two teams, one a melee one and another one which will be ranged, and you kind of need to have a ranged tank and then a melee healer. I wonder how that will work. And you will need to be able to deal with not Kane's, but Shakmech's patterns, attack patterns, and there will be some buff called Kane's assistance that you need to be able to optimize. And the way they design this is that they introduce these random buffs and debuffs that Shakmech will receive. He mentions this as a new feature, but actually we have this in Labyrinth, so I'm not quite sure if what he means that this is totally new. Their plan is to add very high rewards initially, and then as you get to higher difficulties, or you can increase the difficulty for more rewards. So that's what he mentions about Shakmech so far. I'm really looking forward to this. I hope it will not be like soul crushing hard, and that it balances well, so it's interesting but not terribly hard to do. Okay, after this he moves on to talk about the new hero, Sarah. Sorry, I did say Xeria, but it's Sarah, who is like an envoy of darkness, who is like dealing with things from the back, so quite an insidious character. She is going to be obtainable for free for 14 days after she is released from an event. Now, I'm not quite sure whether this means that you can just keep her as a trial hero for 14 days, or that you can get her permanently. That was a bit not quite sure for me, but he says that after the 14 days she will be added to the shop where she can be bought. So maybe you can actually get her permanently. That would be kind of cool. Now, she is a magic type wizard who is specializing in single target damage, reducing enemy mana, and absorbing enemies' energy in battle, which I'm not quite sure what it does. So this sounds pretty PvP heavy, but at the same time he mentions that they want her to be good in Shakmech and trial battles, so probably she will be the new meta for those. After this, we can jump ahead a bit. If you want to watch more of her, you can do that in the original video. Here he mentions that they want to make a new guideline system to offer better guides and quests to new players so they can get into the game more easily. And of course this is good for the game, because if players understand it more easily, more faster, then they get hooked faster. And of course the game does need new players, because, you know, people are always leaving, it's always good to have new players coming in. It keeps the game alive. So they want to improve on this and also make it so that you can get the better rewards. Like if you are watching this, that's pretty dope. I really wish. I have a feeling we will not be getting this. And if you check here, that's actually a new NPC hero, which we are also getting relatively soon, I believe, in here in March. There was a Japanese podcast by them or stream by them. Sadly, I couldn't get any translations for it yet, where they were talking about that NPC. He doesn't mention her here, but it was mentioned on that one. I'm still trying to get it translated, and this is a shout out to Mephisto to get going, please. Okay. Now, after this, he talks about legendary gear acquisition, which is really big because, yeah, many players were saying that due to the randomness, the double stats, it's really hard to get actually 3 or 4 line items. Especially you need three lines which are good, and then you can reroll the fourth one, but this is very hard to get. Basically, you are logged into a permanent grind, and because of this, what they want to do is that you will be able to grind your gears, your legendary gears, to get materials which you can use for crafting selectors, either with 3 or 4 lines that you can select, which is huge, guys. This is super awesome. It will make our life so much easier that we no longer just have to like keep grinding for gear and gear and gear. So this is really big. And next to that, he also talks that they feel that often people will not even change their gears around because it's too much of a hassle. This is true. I really hate doing so. So they want to do it so that you don't only save your hero setup by content, but also your gears, which means if you are, say, running Chase in PvP, you can save him to arena with a certain set. If you want to run him on dragons, you can save him there with a certain set. And you do not need to change his gear around all the time whenever you want to do a different type of content. This makes the game so much better. It's such a quality of life improvement. I'm really looking forward to this. So yeah, these are updates that they're gonna do. After this, we go ahead and you will be able to see in June, Dark Lord Castle and Fallen Frey will be released. Now these are new heroes that come with new stories, so they will not be upgrades or skins to the existing Castle and Frey, but they will be new heroes that they are releasing, which is interesting. Some people are happy about this, some are not. Guess we will see how much of a power creep this means in the game. But he doesn't really say much more, just that they will have their own stories. Now after this, again, chapter 10 is announced for August. Basically the story will be about the rise of the remaining heroes after the fall of Orwell, and stories related to the Hound unit because they are really popular, and also the Republic of Grey, which is JNTO, Ezekiel and Epis, that group. That's pretty cool. He also teases that there is something significant planned to happen to one of the existing characters, but he doesn't say anything about this. And yeah, because we had to wait so long for chapter 10, they want to make it incredibly big, that with a lot of stuff to it. Yeah, but August is still so far away. So yeah, still a lot of waiting for that. And then he drops the next bomb. Here you can see it. Character maximum level raised to 100. Guys, start saving up your potions. Yeah, so they aren't just adding new stories, they are adding more rooms for growth and motivation. So yeah, this is gonna be huge. New gear grind. It really helps that they had the change to the gear grind, because oh god, I do not want to farm for the next tier of items anymore. So yeah, it's good that they do that. Now he has a caveat that this is all subject to change, because you know, things can change in development. They may not be able to keep their timelines or may come up with different things. After this, he goes on to talk about things that they do not have clear IDs or a clear schedule yet. One is that they want to improve the early mid games so players can catch up more easily, that they do not have to go through the same challenges, can get unique weapons, unique treasures more quickly. So they can start facing and contributing in the same content that the old players are doing, and that's a good thing, I guess. But they do not really know yet how they want to do it. The other option thing that they talk about is, let's find it real quick. Yeah. So that's the UI changes that they want to do. He feels that the UI is very old, doesn't really compare to that of the newer games, so they want to update it and make it look better. They have some ideas, but they are also worried that people are really used to the stuff that that we have right now, so they are a bit reluctant to change. But this is something they want to do. Also, I would love to have that many rubies that they have on those screenshots. So yeah, this is his introduction. Yeah, lots of big things announced, some already coming at the end of March. Really looking forward to that, guys. So yeah, I hope this was useful to you, and that yeah, I'm sorry for the previous rushed video. So that's it for now. Cloudie out. See you in the next video. Bye bye.